Good morning, everyone. It's your girls from Obscure Oration here, me, Tay, and Dana down here. Now, today we have the Emperor of Awesome, the man with the beard, also known as Bradley, B-Rad, a whole bunch of names, just all of them. So
Hey,
if you're
you.
looking for them, yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
even Hey You will work.
Oh, my wife has called me many things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure the wife has her own special pet names for you.
Pet? Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, when you hear her saying, "Hey, asshole, did you finish the milk?" You know that she's talking to you. You're like,
Yep.
maybe. So today's going to be a fun-filled episode where we have a friendly, nerdy adventurer with us, which is, as our listeners know, one of our like go-to things. When in doubt, we're like, nerd. We will find all
Nerd,
of you and
nerd.
come for you.
Yeah, that
So
conversation isn't quite working. Have you seen the recent Star Wars?
yes, I love him already. He just said the magic word, Star Wars. We're in.
We're, we're in.
So before we get to the nerdy stuff, because I'm sure that will probably derail the entire conversation before we like promote you and advertise him, we're like, he's not just a nerd. He has also written children's books. You have two of your own
Podcasts.
podcasts, and you do marketing for, is it your local cinema?
Yeah, it's a B&B theaters that we have 55 locations throughout the United States. And I do marketing for one location, which is so much fun because my entire job is to get people to go to the movies.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And free movies is kind of nice.
Ooh, yes, right there.
Yeah.
That.
Huge perk. Huge
Yeah.
perk.
So
So
go ahead.
let's start with the children's book and we'll get that out of the way. I have kids. I have two kids,
Mhm.
26 and 22, so they're not technically kids anymore.
They'll
So
always be your babies.
that's right. Tell us about your children's story.
So I have three daughters. My oldest is 21 and my youngest is 12. And I wrote my first kids book a long time ago, and then it was just one of those things. It was a project that I was probably never going to finish. And then I remember driving by my kids' school, and I saw my daughter just walking by herself, but by the fence, and I'm like, kind of broke my heart. And I came home and I wrote a kids book in
Oh
like
wow.
25 minutes.
God damn.
And something about that kind of lit a fire under. Can we swear?
Oh God,
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're talking about fucking kids books. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I lit a fire in my ass, and I can't draw. I can write. I have good ideas, but I cannot draw for shit. And so I got this idea, wrote this kid's book, the prose to it, and then I'm like, okay, I think I can. This is simple enough. I think I could do this all on Canva, and I was able to. And then, yeah, so I published that one on my own, and um, it's called Leveling Up My Awesome, and it's just about it's about doing things, and you know, it's okay. I'm leveling up my awesome today. So things may not be going as good as you want them to, but that's okay because I'm leveling up my awesome anyway, you know? And that was kind of where I got that. And then I started thinking about other stuff. And I then I wanted to revisit the older kids book that I wrote, which is a more of a story, which is called the Stuffed Animal Night Force versus the
stuffed
Dreamotheque.
stuffed
Yeah.
animal knife. I love this.
And the Stuffed Animal Night Force is about stuffed animals that come alive at night to ward off bad dreams.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds awesome.
thank you. And I don't push that book because I'm actually going to get it re-illustrated because I wasn't happy with the way that it was done, but I didn't have a lot of money to put into it or things like that. So it's actually being re-illustrated right now, actually, by a girl that I work with. But so I'm like, okay, this one I don't have the illustrating chops to do on my own. So I went to Fiverr and I found someone to do it, and it's based on my two youngest daughters. Now, my oldest daughter will come in the sequel. That's right.
Ooh,
Yes,
sequels.
that is right. That's right. But it's about girls can't sleep because of bad dreams. So the dad gets them his teddy bear from when he was a kid, and that's Sergeant Ted E. Bear, of course. And
That is so fantastic.
thank you. And so he gives Sergeant Teddy Bear to the kid. So then the Sergeant Teddy Bear teaches the kids as stuffed animals to fight off the bad dreams. But like in the dream world, the kids get to come in there. And when I sent this to the illustrator, who I probably should have picked somebody from America, but I didn't really know. So Sergeant Teddy Bear is an Indian from the Indian military, I'm guessing. Did not look American camouflage. Whatever, that's cool. So, but the real reason I don't push it is because when she took the girls that were supposed to be like 10, 12 years old and put them into the book, should they look like straight up like superhero girls, which get comic book superhero females.
Like Batgirl.
Most of the time, they're not portraying young girls.
Yeah.
So,
I would say their proportions are never actually young girl proportions. You're like, did you hit puberty at 5?
Yeah. So I never even pushed the book because I'm gonna redo it, which is fine. And then I have 2 more. Oh, go on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So just because I'm curious, is it Night Force as in KNIGH? That's I had that. I don't know why, but that was the feel. I'm like, I feel like it's probably like Knight Force.
It's Animal Night Force. Yes.
I love this so much.
Yeah, I'm thinking about turning it into a young adult thing. Actually, I've been kicking around some ideas on how to do that. On writing an actual chapter book with it, but so that more to come on that later. But so I got 2 more kids books coming out in 3 really. One is a redo, and then my next one that's coming out is called "When My 9 Lives Are Gone," and it will cry.
Ooh.
It's about.
Jeez.
It's about our cat that died about a few months ago, and it's about the cat can't die until it teaches all of his family their 9 life lessons.
Oh, so, Dana's gonna cry on the podcast.
I just lost my Phantom in May. Was it May?
Yeah, I think so.
And she had stomach cancer, and I spent a lot of money in 2 years trying to help her.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we lost our oldest family pet, and that was the same way. And so to honor the cat, I just had to write a kid's book, and that's getting illustrated right now. And then the other one that I'm working on is I like to go the super deep to the not deep. The other one is called Superish. This one won't make you cry, I promise. And it's so Superish, and then the other one that's working on. This one I'm illustrating with Canva because it doesn't seem to be that difficult.
I love Canva.
I know, me too. Yeah. Oh God, it's about living in a world where there's a lot of people with superpowers, and you don't have a superpower. So it's about like, hey, I'm super too. So it's like you may fly, but only 6 feet in the air, but I'm super too. So it's about finding all the good things in there. So
kind of like what makes you special compared to when you're surrounded by like that. Talk about a good way to give yourself a complex. You're like, oh yeah, I went to school, but I went to school with Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, and you're like, what can you do?
So
I
actually,
can skip rope.
Right? Funny about you say that is there's a town about 30 minutes from where I live in Iowa. I'm from Iowa by Des Moines, where Brandon Ruth and Jason Momoa went to school together. So Superman and Aquaman actually went to high school together in Indianola, Iowa.
Interesting.
That is so good.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Me
Brandon
either,
Ruth.
but had I known.
Maybe you did truly become best friends with Jason Momoa and you just didn't know it.
I knew somebody found me on Instagram for some reason.
So yeah, kids books. I have about 40 of them written,
Holy crap.
cow.
and some of them, like about probably about 10 to 15 of them, I call them adult kids books because they have names like Piss Off and Fuck It All, or Fuck It All and Piss Off. Yeah, stuff that you might want to be like, hey, it's an adult kids book because we all need to act more like children.
Yes.
Hey,
yes.
I'm gonna be brutally honest.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my daughter's second word, because her first word was dada, and her second word was fuck. I'm sure of it, because she was going down the stairs and she kind of slipped and she landed on her butt, and she went, "Oh fuck!" I was like, Samantha, where did you hear that? I'm like,
it was natural. Oh my gosh, it was natural.
Now she's like a little sailor. She's
Get your fucking shit together.
Yeah, she'll be 26 in October, and yeah, every other word is a swear word.
I can't imagine where she got that from.
I know. Oh yeah, my mouth is bad. I have to admit that. So
Yeah,
I would definitely read those books.
Oh my god, yes. Well, what I like about it is that you're one of the first people that I've heard say the same kind of thought line as me, where it's act more like children. People seem to get stuck in their heads so much and think like, okay, I'm an adult, so I have to be an adult. Like, the best example I have is people are surprised when I say that, oh yeah, I play D&D. And I have a bunch of like the older friends that go, ew, like, isn't number one, isn't that for nerds? I'm like, hello, you remember I'm a giant nerd, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. I'm like, and then they're like, well, yeah, but isn't that like make believe and all that? I'm like, yes, because legally as an adult, you're not allowed to go up to a shopkeep and say, I'm going to steal your shit, and if you come after me, I'm going to stab you in the face. And
That's
be
true.
able
That's
to
true. You
walk
get in
away. Yeah, the cops are pretty well involved at that point in time, going, hey, we're going to put these nice shiny new bracelets on you, and you're going to come with us for about 30 years.
Right, and the cops were probably called before it happened when they saw somebody walking in a bunch of armor into your local gas station,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
With a sword in the back and like spells and yeah.
There might have been some giveaways when you're suddenly mumbling something like Havana Kedavra and killing them right then and there, going like
roll
and having
for initiative.
Exactly. That's right. You have a +0. I have +10.
Right.
I go first.
You go to your local gas station and you're like, I am going. Give me all your money. You pull out your sword, and the shopkeeper says, "Roll for initiative." And you roll 1, and he rolls a 7, or a 17, and you're like, "Never mind." Walk away.
Yeah, what are you doing? I would like to roll for persuasion. Rolls nat 20. I have persuaded you to let me go. Bye.
No, actually, I have persuaded you to give me all of your money and then let me go.
Yes.
Bye.
Exactly, and that's one of those.
And not to call the cops.
Yes. Oh, good. Oh, good save.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that I love about it, because you get to be like not just someone else, but you get to go into being a child again, where you have to. My friend one time sent me a message because I'd asked him, I was like, why do you like D&D so much? And he gave this like long ass, well thought out response. I'm like, God damn. He's like, I rewrote it 3 times. He's like, I really wanted to get the wording right. I'm like, I was just expecting to be like, it's fun to be a murder hobo. So
yeah,
when he sent it to me and he was talking about like the theater of the mind, I'm like, yes, that is something that so many adults lose, because they're like, well, I'm not a kid anymore. I shouldn't be allowed to play with action figures. I shouldn't want to be collecting bobbleheads. I shouldn't want to play video games. I shouldn't want to play D&D, like all these different things. Like, but that's what makes life fun. Like, you become far too boring if all you're doing is like, well, what do you like to do? I
Go
sit
to
around in
work,
my
cook
house
dinner.
and work. Exactly. All the adult
Yeah.
things. I'm like, well, yeah, but what about the fun part of your life? Well, I watched some reruns from when I had good times in my life as a teenager, and that was about it. I'm like, well, that's just sad.
Yeah. That's why I got into podcasting. I've been in podcasting for years. I mean, my first podcast, it was called Nerd Church Radio, where me and my buddies we just talked about DC Comics, and then
Nice.
we did about 60 episodes of that, and then we took a break, and then me and my one buddy, we ended up started Ben and Brad's Pop Culture Kingdom. I think we did 30 episodes of that, and
That's cool.
then I got into then I started the Fandemic, which is like that's my thing, right? And then I started talking to my buddy, and we started an offshoot of that called Prevenge of the Nerds. And it was just too much work to do two separate things, so I kind of merged them back into just the Fandemic. I know it's like so weird. And then we were talking one day, and the pandemic was over, so the Fandemic gimmick was kind of on the like. So then we're like, well, I guess it was he made us in our podcast when it was called the Fandemic. He made a run off comment like, well, I guess after you catch the Fandemic, you're nerd positive. And so now we're like, fuck, that's a good name. Nerd positive is a good name. I'm like, dude, we're changing the name of the podcast from Nerd Positive to the fan or from the Fandemic to Nerd Positive. So he's like, okay. So and that's my social. Like that time with my buddy Brian is like that is my social time. Like I would love to get back to D&D because it's been a while since I played. I still don't have a lot of time for it. But I'm going to come back to that because I'm going to be doing something in my theater with D&D in the next couple months. Yes. I'll speak of that in a second. Something that's a passion project that me and my buddy at work have had for about a year now, and we're finally put it together. But so what I came up with, like, I want to do these things, so why don't I make it part of my job? So I do marketing for a movie theater. Movie theaters nerds. So a lot of them, especially the ones that I go to. So I started doing follow throughs with people. Like, hey, come to the movie with me, and then let's talk about it. That way I can stay on the clock to do it.
Oh, that's smart.
Right.
That's thinking.
But with the D&D, so one of the guys that works there, he is a big dungeon master. We used to have an employee group, and then it just kind of dwindled down till there's like two of us. So we're like, okay, what could we do to make a really good homebrew D&D game? Because there's two things that I wanted to do. I want to do a monthly D&D game that anybody could just come in and just have fun, right? You're gonna have a server to wait on you, whatever, just to get people to. And I want to do. So depending on how it goes, it'll be. I'm gonna start off with it monthly, and then I'm gonna do the same with Pokemon, Magic, one of those every month, and we're gonna do a raw day, and then we're gonna do just a overall movie day once. So every Thursday for an hour, we're gonna have. I'm gonna call them B&B clubs, but. Anyway, so for our D&D, what makes it a passion thing is that we want to create a world where the movies that are playing at the theater affect the D&D world.
Oh.
Right now, if you were to join this D&D game, you would have to put up with Ryan's World, Alien Romulus, Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters. Let's see what else is playing right now. Despicable Me 4 is still there. So you could take some of these story elements and put them in a D&D game. So
yes,
me and the guy we're trying to figure out how to do it and make it like not suck. So. But then the more I got, like, well, if we do it, we're just going to record it and we'll just throw it up. We'll put it out, on YouTube or whatever,
Oh God, yeah.
But
nice. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Road trip.
And it's so funny because while you were talking about that, my phone went off and my husband sent me a message. He's like, "Do you want to go see Deadpool at 12:50?"
The answer is
I'm
yes.
Yes. I was just gonna say the answer is fuck yes, because oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, I've seen it 4 times.
I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so goddamn good. It's so good.
Yeah, I saw Alien. So I saw that. I saw Borderlands. Oh, yeah, Borderlands is in there too, but I don't suggest that.
Oh,
I was
I
just gonna
heard
say
bad
I've heard
things
it's
about
horrible.
that.
Man, okay. Quick rant on Borderlands.
Okay, good.
Go for it.
I liked the video games. The movie is horseshit. The movie is crap. Okay, are you telling me that you got Kevin Hart in a movie and he cannot make me laugh throughout the entire movie? You failed. You have Kevin Hart and Jack Black, and I maybe chuckled one time through the entire movie. There was no blood. There's no blood. It's PG fucking 13.
Oh, come on. You can't make Borderlands PG-13.
No, and here, exactly. It should not have came out the 2 weeks after Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh God, no.
Who came up with that idea? Because fire them. Fire them. They are horrible.
Fire them now.
Yes. You know.
And I've heard that from a lot of people. Like one of my nerdy friends who. So quick backstory. My one friend John and I became friends because we were both giant, and I mean giant Star Wars nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And that was literally the totality of our entire friendship for like the first 3 years we knew each other. And I never realized that until one day I was like, dude, do you have a job? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm at work right now. I'm like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I work big equipment for like a big company and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, where do you live? I know you're in Canada. He's like, oh, I live in Alberta. I'm like, I knew none of these things. He's like, well, what about you? It was like 3 years before we got to that. It was like, oh, right, we're actually real people. Instead, we'd just be like, did you see what happened in the Star Wars stuff today? And that was all we talked about. But now that we've gotten past that point, we talk about all of the nerdy things and everything, like even stuff that goes into our lives. And he messaged me the one day. He's like, Borderlands was horrible. I demand a refund. I want my life back. I want my money back. And they should pay me retribution for having to sit through that bullshit. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, that's bad. That's bad.
We played Borderlands. I have a small group of friends that any game that you can link 4 players, so like Call of Duty, Borderlands, Tiny Tina's, Left 4 Dead, Dying Light, we get together and we play. So we played through Borderlands, and then when Tiny Tina's Wonderland came out, we went through that. And when Al said that Borderlands was being made into a movie, I'm like, I don't know about that. The first trailer I saw, I went, what the fuck is that shit? Al actually went to see the movie, sent me a message. He's like, 20 minutes into the movie, he goes, and I think I'm going to go home now.
Oh.
Yeah. I wasn't quite that bad. I mean, like, I'll sit. There's only one movie that I've ever wanted to get up out of, and that was Pompeii. But
I never saw that.
yeah. So in as far I brought my youngest daughter, and she actually liked the movie, but she's never played the video games or anything like that. And that's like you could take if you took the story, wrote some better jokes at least, you know, and like put a lot of blood. It should not have been PG-13. You cannot play that fucking game and come back like, hey, you know what? Let's make this a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Like that's how I feel about a lot of video games. Like, to me, there's only been 2, for me personally, great video game to TV series adaptations, because I have as of yet to see a great movie version, and until this, I hadn't seen great TV versions.
I know one.
I would say one was The Last of Us, which I think they did a phenomenal job with, because they actually literally brought the game, they went like shot for shot. They're like, here it is. They changed a couple of things just to make it make more scientific sense. Where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I can respect that. That was good.
Yeah.
And then the other one for me was Fallout. I
Yes, I
absolutely loved
loved
the TV.
Fallout.
That was so well done, and I'm like, now that was like being in the video game. But they in both cases were like, okay, but there's going to be murder and there's going to be blood and there's going to be fucked upness that you may not be prepared for. Like Fallout is the best example for that, where you're like, oh yes, I'm just going to harvest your organs now. Goodbye.
Right. And like to bring it back to Borderlands is I am 100% convinced that it was the studios that calmed it down. For one reason only, is it's directed by Eli Roth. Like
come on.
This movie should have had all the blood. Because Eli Roth knows how to do that.
Fuck, right?
I mean, okay, so you tap the guy to do, you tap the guy who did Hostel to freaking one of the best horror icons in the last 20 years, 25 years, and you cap him with a PG-13 movie that the literal property is about dismemberment?
Yes.
I like have a tear in my eye knowing that.
Yeah.
That's such a waste of talent.
100% it is. Yeah.
That is going in and going, oh, you have a perfectly healthy leg right here, but we're going to cut it off.
We're going to cut it off anyways.
Yeah.
You just have like an ingrown toenail, but we're going to take the whole leg.
Amputate at the waist.
And you're going to be fine. Don't worry. You'll be able to kind of like walk it off with your arms. It'll be great. Don't worry.
See, so, I had no idea that Eli Roth was behind that. That even that disappoints me so much more.
There's another TV show that's a great adaptation of a video game. It came out last year. Twisted Metal.
I haven't gotten to see it. I forgot about that one.
I started watching that.
Anthony Mackie is in it, and it is fantastic. It is, and that was a perfect example of taking a premise, because Twisted Metal, you don't really get a lot of stories. It's about cars, right? You know what I mean? Like, and they brought you into a world. They were true to the video game, and they did it. But yeah, I mean, like, the Borderlands movies reminded me of the 1990s Double Dragon movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just no.
I'm so sad.
Yeah.
It gets sadder. Like, the more you know about the movie, what's involved with it, it makes me sad and angry all at the same time, because they had a phenomenal cast for it.
Mm-hmm.
They had the right director for it. They had great potential. And they fucking ruined it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not for children. Don't make it PG-13. They should not be involved in this.
Yeah,
that would be like Disney buying the rights to Grand Theft Auto and making it into a movie.
Please pull your car over, or else I'm going to punch you.
I'm a bad parent. I can admit it. I think my son was 11 or 12 when GTA 5 came out, and I bought it for him because he had an Xbox. And I remember the one day I was upstairs playing on my Xbox, and he came running upstairs. He's like, "Mom, I just ran over a whore."
What every mom wants to hear a kid say as you're running into my room. Good for you.
But
did you get the money back, son? Yes, good boy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't take that. Like, if Disney was to make that game, oh my God, if they took that game and made it into a movie, it'd be like the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Just see Mickey coming.
Yeah, and there is a good story there. There really is. Mm-hmm. They just didn't tell it.
Yeah.
No.
And now it'll never be told. And
that's the issue, is that you get stuff like this, and it brings an end to the end of any possibilities, where you're like, this had the potential to be phenomenal, and you guys just went.
Unless you're Sony. Well, unless you're Sony and you have the rights to Marvel properties that you want to keep on. And then it's like, hey, let's make a Madam Web movie. Let's get some really good actresses to play the Spider-Girl parts. But you know what? Hey, Let's not have them be the spider people. Let's not have. And then let's connect it to Peter through Uncle Ben. Yeah, Madam Web's best friend, that's Uncle fucking Ben. Yeah, absolutely. There's our connection. We got this. And you know what? Let's have a bad translation track for the main villain. But we're gonna cover up his mouth because he's gonna have a Tobey Maguire-esque tarantula suit.
Yep.
So you can't hear the bad kung fu movie dubbing. Yeah.
So what
Oh
if?
my god.
So what if 5 years down the road, because we know it's Hollywood and they've totally run out of ideas.
Clearly.
So what if 5 years down the road they remake Borderlands, but they do it the right way?
That'd be different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not at. I mean, I'll go watch anything if it looks intriguing. If it looks like
Yes.
something I'm gonna enjoy. So the way I look at it, so like my solo podcast I do is called it's called the lunch break reviews, and it's just me going over all the writers, directors, and cast of movies, and then I go over the best good and bad reviews I can find on IMDb. I make them
Okay.
all under 30 minutes or under is my goal. And that's what I did one on Borderlands. That's why I kind of know a little bit about it. But I found that like a lot of people review things should not be reviewing things, especially when you're picking from like that's not a review, dude. Like you said, not one thing about the movie. There is a lot of unfair reviews, and I totally
Yeah.
forgot. What was your question?
I forget.
Dana's like,
Oh, what if they remade it in 5 years?
Oh, we made it in 5 years. Yeah, so I remember where I was going with that.
and connected.
Right. So I call it movie fog. Right. So like if I'm gonna go to your movie or your property, or if I'm gonna watch your TV show, you have to immerse me in with enough movie fog for me to enjoy it. You have
Yes.
to bring me into your world. If you can't do that, I want nothing to do. Like Borderlands 1 didn't do that for me. If they came out with a sequel to Borderlands and called it Borderlands Handsome Jack or something like that, I'm intrigued, but I'm cautiously worried. Perfect
Yes.
example is this next week with The Crow.
Oh,
The Crow comes out. And The Crow, the 1994 The Crow movie, is one of the greatest movies that's
ever made.
It's a perfect movie. It's one of the few perfect movies out there. I can name only a couple off the top of my head. Princess Bride is a perfect movie. Empire Strikes Back is a perfect movie.
Yep.
The Crow is a perfect movie. We don't get them very often. Forrest Gump is a perfect movie.
Yes.
But The Crow, I mean, I'm going into it because I've read the comic. I've read the original comic. I know J.O. Barr's story, how he came up with the Crow. He came up with the Crow after his fiance was brutally attacked, raped, and killed. That's how he came up with the story of the Crow, the writer of the actual beginning of the Crow. He was also overseas. He wasn't in the United States when it happened. And so I'm like, okay, for the new Crow movie to bring in that movie fog for me, it's gonna be tough because I love The Crow so much. I watch it at least once a year. It's one of the greatest movies been made in my lifetime, and I will die on that hill.
Yep.
So, we with the new one, it's like, okay, I like what I see, but I'm gonna go in there and like, okay, you got to win me over. Like, you really got to win me over. And I know that's how the critics are going to be too. Like, it's going to be it's going to be
a tough one.
Yeah.
Like it's when you take stuff like that, I always go into things like that worried. Like for me, the one that I'm so excited for, what makes me a little nervous that I'm so excited for is Beetlejuice 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because that's
yeah.
coming out September 6th.
Yeah.
And a group of us are all going to go see it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, the original one came out like March 23rd or 26th, 1988.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a long time between sequels.
Yeah.
And this could either go really, really good or it could go really, really bad. It's not often that a sequel to such a beloved movie is just middle of the road where you're kind of like, okay, that was all right. Like, you're going to have strong feelings one way or the other.
Mhm.
And it makes you nervous when you have stuff like that because you're going in, you're like, okay, I remember the original ones of these. And you're now 30, 40, 50, 60 years later going, you know what we need? A sequel. It's like, okay, but some of the original actors are dead.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll recast. Like, that's a problem for me right off the
Yeah.
the bat right there. I'm like, don't recast people.
But
Make new ones.
Beetlejuice 2 did pretty good with keeping
They've
Winona
got
Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, right?
yeah, they've actually got I think everyone from the original cast, other than I think Alec Baldwin is the only one who's not returning.
Yeah. So I'm actually not worried about Beetlejuice, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Michael Keaton in the 90s was adamant, like, there's the only way that I will do it is if I'm in the movie for less than 17 minutes. And so Michael Keaton had no desire to do a sequel to Beetlejuice until now. And so, like, because they got him and they want, like, I feel like it's going to play into the current legacy sequels is what I'm calling them.
Yes.
Top Gun Maverick is a legacy sequel. Twisters is a legacy sequel, and it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
I
great.
want to see it. Yeah.
It'll blow you away.
I love Twister is one of my favorite movies, but
She didn't get it. It's okay.
That was such a good dad joke. How did you miss that? He said it's going to blow you away.
I heard it, but I was already started my thought.
I almost spit out the tea. That's so good.
So I'm gonna go off the beaten path for a minute. Yesterday, so Taylor and I live in Ontario, very close to the Michigan border. Detroit is our neighbor. Yesterday in Ontario, about 4 hours away from us, maybe 3 hours, they had a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Which, being in Iowa, you should probably get tornadoes quite a bit, right?
Yeah, we do.
So, my family had a baby shower yesterday, so my mom and I had attended that. And my cousin Jean was driving from Mississauga, and she was on our main highway, which is the 401, and she was in the direct path of the tornado about half a kilometer away.
Oh, Jesus. Did she see any cows?
Her and her 2 children had watched Twisters the night before.
Oh.
By the time she got to my cousin Kath's house where the shower was, she was a literal basket case. But
yeah.
I mean, I get it. What she did was this was her thought process. I either put my car in park and stay in the path of this massive tornado and die, or I turn my car around and drive against traffic and die. She turned her car around and was doing 120 in the opposite direction on the 401 in blinding rain to outrun a tornado.
Jesus
And
Christ.
when she got to my cousin's house and was telling the family, my family's response was to make fun of her. Because that's how we are, right?
Right.
But it's just the irony of the fact that her and her kids had watched Twisters the night before, and she's teaching them about cloud formation and funnel clouds, and then less than 24 hours later, kaboom, they're running for their lives.
Jesus.
Wow, that's a good story. It's a good story.
Yeah, what are the odds of that happening? You're like, oh yeah, we saw the movie of what the fuck is that? Why is the movie in?
Is that
Why is it
shit?
3D? I didn't pay for 3D.
Yeah, so it took the roof off of a Home Hardware, and she was right
Jesus.
down the street from the Home Hardware that the
Wow.
when she got back on the 401, it had flipped a transport, an 18-wheeler. It had
Yep.
flipped it into the median, and I don't know if you saw the news, Taylor. It knocked a train over. That's how big of a tornado it was.
Holy shit, that's a huge one.
Ontario doesn't get tornadoes like that. So for us to have, I think they classified it as an F3.
I was going to say that would have to be one of the bigger ones to be able to do that much damage. Like, we're down here, we're in Tornado Alley. Like, it's why we get hit so often by them. But we've actually been fairly lucky this year. I don't think we've actually had, I'm now saying touch wood.
Knock on wood, stupid. It's supposed to rain today.
I was going to say, there's going to be 5 of them going, all right, well, you said. So we've gotten, like I said, until now, we've gotten pretty lucky down here where we haven't had tornadoes just hurling through. Because you think about it, I'm trying to remember what year it was. It was something like 2000, maybe 2010, somewhere around there. The one that just came tearing through all of Leamington out here.
Oh, the
and
one that
tore
went straight down Highway 18 and took out like Seacliff Park and that?
Yep, that one exactly. It took out all of the different greenhouses. Like, the damage was astronomical. But we've been fairly lucky. We haven't gotten any of those ones, so they can stay up north. They have migrated. They like it up there better.
I was in Niagara Falls a few years ago, pre-COVID, with the
More than a
family,
few then.
and my neighbor sent me a text message, and she's like, I just want to let you know your house is okay. And I'm like, the fuck you talking about, Pam? And she goes, oh, are you guys not home? I'm like, no, we're in Niagara Falls. What's going on? She's like, a tornado just went down our street. She goes, your house is okay, but the house 4 doors down got hit. The house 4 doors down got hit and then got struck by lightning 5 minutes later.
I remember that.
That's crazy.
Like we when we came home the next day, the house was like a molten pit. And we didn't have like internet cable power for a good 3 days.
Can't imagine why.
But yeah, like I'm thankful we weren't home. My kids probably would have panicked. Like Sam would have like lost her mind.
Yeah, she would have just been a puddle of pee on the floor in
But
front
yeah,
of
like,
you.
you know, you get a text message like that, your house is okay. Well, why the fuck wouldn't it be, you know? And then like, oh, tornado down the street.
And you're sitting there like, well, I'm glad I wasn't home.
Yeah, there's one time in my life I'm like, oh, thank God I'm in stupid Niagara Falls.
You're like, look at these pretty falls. This is so nice. My house is fine. Okay.
Thanks.
That's sweet of you to say. Were you looking at it?
Ring doorbell. Just you see it go by.
Yeah. There was motion on your street today.
Hey, you know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Brad, because shortly after that, my husband put up security cameras. So we could, like, if we're away, because at the time his mom lived in Sault Ste. Marie, so we could keep track of
tornadoes
the
passing
going
by.
ons.
Nice.
So now I have the question, because obviously, like, you're a fairly well balanced nerd. You seem to be all encompassing. What's your preferred, your favorite nerdum?
Well, my daughter's name is Leia.
Yes!
Say no more. You just made Taylor and you are going to be best friends.
Yes. I am my preference is Star Wars. The Star Wars, even as bad as the Acolyte was.
Oh my God, I love this man. Oh my God, I don't have enough good words.
My husband is a Star Wars nerd too. Not to get too graphic, our daughter was conceived trying to watch the original Star Wars movie because I had never seen it. My husband's like, "Oh, you gotta watch these," and yeah, 9 months later. But yeah, we watched the Accolade, and he said the same thing. He's like, "This is kind of dumb," but we had to stick it out because that's how we are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always tell people that, you know what, I'm happy to finally have more Star Wars content because we're now at a technological point that we can do all of these cool things. So I'm happy to see it. However, I had a discussion or a debate with one of my friends last week, I think it was. And he was like, oh, because I had said, my one friend, so we're doing a D&D that's a Star Wars D&D.
Okay.
And
Oh, nice.
he and I are hardcore Star Wars fans. So like last week, he started describing someone. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're in the Sith temple. You go in. There's this giant kind of like bubble, and behind it, this pale face pops out and looks at you. And they have like this ornate looking helmet." And I was like, I got a chill down my spine. I'm like, Tom, did you just introduce Darth Bane? And he's like, I don't know. Did I? I'm like, is this the fucking thought bomb? Because you made us go to Rusan. And I immediately, all the others aren't as, like, we're all Star Wars fans, but he and I are the hardcore ones.
Right, read the
So I
books,
sat there, I'm like,
know the things. Yeah.
Oh, no. And all of them went, why'd she say, oh, no? I'm like, oh, no. And he's like, oh, yeah, he does the whole monologue thing. And I'm like, my character drops to her knees and says, I'm sorry, Lord. Please understand why I'm here. And they're all like, why are you doing that? I'm like, don't fucking talk to me. Just do what I'm doing. They're like,
do you want to die?
That was exactly it. I'm like, oh God, we're going to die here. We're going to die. But he and I got into the debate about the Acolyte because I watched him and I told our one friend, I'm like, okay, you have homework. Here's the chronological order of all the TV series, all the movies, all put in order, thanks to online nerds. You have homework, go watch it. She's like, there's a lot. I'm like, it's good. You get to watching, young lady. You have homework.
Yeah.
And then I had said to her, it's like, you know, watch The Acolyte, but don't expect it to be great because it was kind of a meh series, or it's a meh first season. And she didn't respond. Instead, my friend Tom's like, bite your tongue. It was amazing. I'm like, it was not. There were good parts about it that I liked.
Like
but
2 minutes.
There's like, I liked aspects of it where, like, I loved the choreography of it, the fight sequences. Those were probably my favorite part of it because it was.
Yeah, the one thing that Star Wars, that no matter what property it is, they can't screw up is lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
Give us a cool lightsaber battle and you're going to make fans happy.
Yep.
But kill a Wookiee off screen, hey, you know what? Why? Kill a Wookiee that uses a lightsaber off screen? Hey, what fan wanted to see that?
That was exactly it. Like, I was so mad. Number one, I was mad at that entire 20-minute. Let's start with that first issue. That episode only being 20 fucking minutes because they're like, oh yeah, they go through all this stuff to find them. And then they're like, oh, well, we need to end it here because the next episode's going to be the epic battle. I'm fucking tired of TV shows doing that bullshit. It's like, no, show me the epic battle, make a real length episode, and fill in more story in the next one. Because that battle that ensued afterwards, where he just went through killing all of the Jedi off, I'm like, that part was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, so a show that was supposed to show how amazing women are, and they are. Their best characters were Manny Jacinto, who played the Stranger, or the whatever, and the guy from Squid Games. Those are the best.
Oh, is that what he's from? Is Squid Games?
And then they killed off the only other good person that they had, which was Daphne Keane. I'm like, so you had a shot because Amanda Stenberg, you were horrible in this show. But I'm not going to talk bad about the Acolyte without offering a fix for you. I got you. I got you.
Okay.
Here it is. should have made. Here's the fix. Here's the fix of what you should have done, or maybe I don't know. Maybe we could go back and it's too. I guess it's too late for the acolyte. We're not. But anyway,
I like that. It's too late for that. Start fresh.
Why didn't you make Amanda Stenberg, the main character, Osha and May, a split personality, where she was both Jedi and Sith?
That's what I thought they were going to do in that very first episode.
Me too.
When you see her on the ship, and then she's like, "No, I just none of your business. I went down to like a bar or something."
Yeah.
I thought for sure that they were heading into the direction of saying that she had split personality disorder, and she didn't know, and it would literally be a person who was a Jedi and didn't even know that she was a Sith, and a Sith that didn't even know she was a Jedi.
Yeah. Which, like, that right there is more interesting than every story that they told.
God, yeah. Like,
I mean, you're talking about the symbolism of fighting the demons within you, and what's in all the gray area, and what's gonna win. I mean, like like that is a story that I can get behind. But what we got, I mean, okay, guys, there was a lot of bad decisions made. When you're making a Star Wars property, I want you to have a non-fan in there, because I want there to be some sort of like why. Like the normal person isn't going to get this. I want that in there. And I don't think that you need to be the super Star Wars nerd fan, whatever, but like you gotta have better writing. I mean, like, so chick kills Carrie Ann Moss with a dagger. Same episode, they're like, we don't kill Jedi with steel. Okay, that wasn't timed very well. Then supposed person that killed Carrie Ann Moss, you put her on. First of all, you sent a brand new Jedi Knight to go get her because he knew her, right?
Yeah.
And then you put her on a prison transport with a bunch of freaking droids. No Jedi escort.
Yeah. That was like, where were they? Like, that's the part that I don't get. It's like, why wouldn't no Jedi would have ever done that? The whole point was that they would have been on that ship and would have been guarding her. None of that should have happened. It would have been a smooth sailing all the way through. They would have been able to say, okay, yep, we made it all the way here. And then the way that everything was written, the only parts that I found that actually flowed nicely were the 2 episodes where they were actually flashbacks to when Osha and May were children. And they basically explained the backstory about them being from a witch coven and that they were created. That was quite literally the only 2 episodes I was like, oh, that was actually really good, because it had a good continuity to it where everything played out in a good, solid flow, where everything was like, okay, here, they're on the planet because of this, they're doing this is all going. I'm like, those had good flows to them. All the episodes were like,
yeah.
Like, oh, okay, well, if I just follow all these threads somewhere along here, there's a story.
Norm had a hard time following it.
Yeah.
And like, again, I'm not in the category that you guys are for Star Wars, but like, I watch with my husband. We've watched The Mandalorian, because I love The Mandalorian.
Who doesn't?
Because you love Pedro.
This is the way. Yeah.
But
yes.
Yeah. So we've watched The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Obi. Like, we've watched all those little things. The only thing he hasn't watched is the Star Wars cartoon.
Clone Wars?
Yes, the Clone Wars. But
which, in my opinion, is the best Star Wars. Just because, like, it's the one that I honestly, like, I put that on to fall asleep to. It is one of my comfort shows, because I loved how all those seasons went, how they did the story building, and the way that they grew all the characters.
Maybe I can convince him to watch it. We'll see. But like, when we started watching The Acolyte, I was asking him questions, and he was like, yeah. The next episode, he was asking me questions. Because he was having a hard time following along.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I watch The Lord of the Rings. I can follow multiple storylines.
Right.
It's very true.
You know, and I guess with the Acolyte, for a show that was supposed to be about the Sith, it wasn't really about the Sith. And here's the thing: Disney gave Leslie Headland the potential to write the history of the Sith. And
Yeah,
what did she do? She told a really stupid story in the High Republic. She could have been as influential in Star Wars as George Lucas.
Yes.
Because she was given the area that nobody has ever really touched, especially in film and TV, the dark side. Because it was shrouded in mystery. They're gonna let her be the one to shine a little bit of light on there. Pardon my puns. Actually, don't pardon my puns. They're out there.
Oh, the dad jokes are good.
Yeah. You know, but like, and what does she do? She tells some really dumb story that wasn't even Sith related, barely. And and so when you don't even live up to your title of the show, whatever. Whatever.
Well, I was saying that was my issue with it because for me, so I'm a big fan. I'm going to assume that you're a big fan of the old expanded universe.
Mm-hmm.
So the books from the original expanded universe are top notch. Like you get some damn good stories about dark side, and it's not fluff stuff. It is hardcore. Like, okay, here's how the Sith came to be. Here's how they were warriors the entire time. They did this, they did that. Talking about like, I want to see the Darth Bane trilogy come to life because that is one of my favorite outside of Darth Revan. Darth Bane is one of my top favorite Sith Lords because he's the original creator of the Rule of Two. So I want to see him, and I want to see Darth Zana coming through and hiding the fact that they're kicking ass and collecting all of these Sith relics to become more and more powerful. Where you're like, okay, I want to see that. I want to see them be the dark side. I want to see Darth Bane fighting in the Sith Wars and convincing the Sith Council to use the Thought Bomb and destroying the entire Sith Order and then hiding in the shadows. I want to see all that. I want to see Darth Plagueis teaching Palpatine all about how to manipulate midichlorians, and then him just fucking him up, and he goes, oh, "We made a baby. Die."
But we got to see Darth Plagueis. Yeah, and Darth Plagueis got his idea about creating life through Osha and May. Are you fucking kidding me? But anyway, I digress.
Well, no, I fully agree. Like, for me, it's one of those things of, I get using it to understand things, but I'm like, okay, we have throughout, like, when you look at the old expanded universe, we had several times where other groups were playing around with midichlorians and whatever they would call them in their own cultures and making all the things. And Darth Plagueis, that's how he did all the research from everything that Darth Bane had handed down. He was like, if I keep working on this, I'm going to be able to make a kid. I'll be able to live forever. Oh. And I was like, okay, I want to see that. I want to see him come to that conclusion from everything that he already knew and step forward from there. Not just like, oh, well, I was hiding in the shadows and I was just peeking out one day and I went, ooh, that's a good idea. Like, no, I want more than that.
Agree.
And for me, I so badly want, and Dana, one of these days you really do have to give the Clone Wars a try.
You do.
It's a tough start, I'm not going to lie. The first time that you watch it, it's a tough start because the animation wasn't grooving as good in the beginning, but they change it up as you go along. But you will fall in love with characters. You will see some die horribly. That's why I've said, I'm like, this is not a show for kids. Like, people are like, it's a cartoon, it's for kids.
Like the cartoon version of Game of Thrones then. Don't love a character, they're going to be dead next episode.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say there's one character, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I love him to pieces. And every time he dies, oh, Oh, it's right to the heart. Oh my
Every
God. Every
time he dies?
well, I've watched the show
Oh,
several
because you
times.
watch
So,
them all. I'm like, how
Mhm.
many times does he die in this
well, there's a
series?
couple of them that you thought died, and then the new series were like, oh, he's not dead, which again breaks your heart when you find him, and you're like, oh. But the show is so good for getting you right in that heart,
Mhm.
and it connects everything because so many of the new shows actually connect to things from it, like in Ahsoka
Mhm.
when oh crap, what was the name of the bad guy? Balin. When he's standing on that rock cliff, it's actually the statue of the father, the son, and the daughter, which is from a 3 episode story arc from the Clone Wars. So when you
Oh,
see
okay.
that and it's pointing off, all of us hardcore fans are all like, oh my God, are they bringing Abeloth into this? And if they do, she is the most evil, most powerful, horrifying creature in the entire galaxy, which is just traumatizing for anyone. And later I will send you a picture of her to show you why she's traumatizing when you're like,
Okay.
oh, nope.
I mean,
No,
it's
thank
nightmare.
you.
It's nightmarish, but
oh, oh
it would
yeah.
make such a cool story. I mean, and the way that they are set up now, I mean, like with Cal Kestis, and
Yes.
I mean, you have some of those that those reserves, and I mean, I don't feel like it's diluted down Star Wars having other Jedi. You know,
No, I mean, it
because
makes sense.
it does, right? Because I mean, like, I always go back to the thing like that always made my brain wander was what happened to all the Jedi throughout the last 50 years before Order 66 that left the Jedi Order. They wanted to start
Yes.
a family, or they wanted to they wanted to do something different, or they good or bad reasons, but you could be discharged from the Jedi Order and still be a good person. And then when Order 66 happens, like, well, okay, time to dust off the lightsaber. Let's do some damage here. Where was that? And the comics kind of lead there a little bit because
Yep.
Vader goes to Vader and the Inquisitors go to hunt them all,
Yes.
and we don't know the level of what they hunted, right? I mean, I have all the comics since Marvel took over, from for Star Wars and Darth Vader, and Doctor Aphra, which is why she's not in live action yet. Yeah, dumbasses, but
I agree. Like there are some things like they're missing some amazing storylines where you're like, it's literally right here. It's already written for you that you're like, look at these amazing characters that already exist.
yeah.
That all you have to do is find the perfect cast for them and go, oh, we did good.
Now,
And you're like, you did good.
have you played the new game, Outlaw?
No, not yet because it costs too much.
I agree. I agree. I do got the okay to buy it for my wife, so that's good. I just haven't had a chance yet because I've been busy. And so, yeah.
Yeah, when you're an adult and you're like, I really want to play the games, but don't have the time because stupid life comes in and you're like, I miss when I used to be a teenager, didn't have to work, and all I had was school. So, I'd do my homework all day, and then you'd get summer vacation, come home, and you could spend 18 hours straight just playing a video game going, this is amazing.
Yup.
Yeah, show off.
I'm retired. So I
Yeah.
can
Again,
spend
show
18
off.
hours playing a
Yep.
video game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one I really want that new game because I think it's going to be really good. And the games so far have been pretty solid hits, I'd have to
Mhm.
say. Like, I mean, the Cal Kestis games, I love them. And they're bringing in characters that they're like, hey, look what we brought over here. Like bringing in, oh crap, what's his name? The unkillable guy. Why can't I think of what his name? Dirt? Is that his name? He's the unkillable bounty hunter. And he used to be in the old expanded universe, and they brought him back into this one for the game. But he's one of
Mhm.
those creatures where you literally he's not killable.
Mm.
You can cut things off, and you're just like, oh, yeah, he just grew back. And he's like, hold on, let me just regrow this hand. okay, so I was saying that you should just surrender, and you're like, yeah, I should.
Well, Taylor, let's make a plan for winter because
Okay.
neither of us really like to do things. January, you're not going to be working overtime on the weekends
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's going
that's
to be
true.
slow.
Yeah.
I still have the Ultimate Game Pass
Oh,
that
yeah.
you gave me for my birthday. I can keep it until then, and then we can play that game together.
Hell yeah. I just put it in. Here we go. Put it in my
She's
notes.
putting it in her calendar.
Yep, they're like, Jamie's coming around. I'm going to be like, bitch, you had better use that, and you had better use it now. It is time, Simba.
Yeah, well, you know me. The winter months I game. Not so much in the summer because I have a pool and I tend to spend a lot of time outdoors in the summer. But
Then winter is
fall
coming.
to spring, I'm like, I'm all the buttons.
We're like, look what we have to do now.
Xbox, you name it.
We're like, it's time. It's time to play all of the things.
All of the things.
Exactly.
All the games.
All the nerding that will happen during the winter months where we're going to be coming out the other side going, hey, what's this daylight stuff? It burns, precious. It burns.
My
Yeah, exactly. And let's just say also, never, ever, ever even look or buy the game Golem.
Oh, no. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, honestly, that game, I don't know if you'd heard about it, Dana, but they actually made the game.
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's atrocious.
Oh.
It is one of the worst made games out there.
Yeah. The game I'm playing right now when I get chances is the First Descendant. 1, it's free. And 2, it's flipping awesome. It's on the PS5. I'm a PlayStation guy.
That's why.
Yep, but I think it's on Xbox too. I think it was a port over through from Xbox. The First Descendant. If you haven't played it, it's very, very Destiny-ish.
Okay.
Before Destiny got way too complicated and and you can actually start it and do things without being killed every 35 seconds.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably one of my biggest issues with video games today, where I'm like, I'm excited for some to come out. Like right now, I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3, which
Love that
is
game.
Oh my god, one of my best friends just hit the 600-hour mark.
Oh god.
She has so many playthroughs. She's like,
Yeah.
I have my own that I want to do all the different things. So I can tell this, and it's not truthfully a spoiler. However, when you play the game, things change depending on choices and all that. Like, it's 1,000,000% choice driven. So just because in one playthrough a doppelganger was one character, apparently, as we've now found out, does not mean that she's going to be those characters again. It must be a randomizer, because I went up and I thought I'm all full of myself. I'm like, yeah, I know who you are, Orin. I'm going to fucking kill you right now in front of the gates where the news reporter is. Slash, character goes down and is dead in one hit. And I'm like, no, it's Orin. Oh god, it's not her. Oh god, I just killed someone. Oh no. The guards came up and they're like, murder's frowned upon in Baldur's Gate. I'm like, oh god, it's not her.
Load last save. Load last save. I did that so many times on Baldur's Gate 3. I was like, yeah, I didn't like that decision. Let's let it go back.
The problem was I hadn't saved in so long that I'm like, oh no.
Then you just have to start over. You just have to eat it. You have to cry for about 45 minutes and be like, all right.
And away we go.
I was so surprised. And then the character that she had been in the first time that I played, I walked up again. I'm all cocky. I'm like, okay, this is going to be her. I'm ready for this cut scene. Did the whole scene, came out in the Dryad's like, all right, have a nice day. I'm like, walking away. I'm like, wait, what just happened?
You too.
But you're supposed to be Orin. I don't understand what's happening. Walk up, meet some guy that I never met before, and he's like, oh, you know what you should do? You should kill people. I'm like, well, that's weird. I don't even know you. Choose a couple dialogue options, and all of a sudden cracks her neck, and she's like, oh, look, it's me. I'm like, who even are you? It was at that point in time that I messaged my friend. I'm like, she fucking changes. And she goes and she happens to go onto TikTok. And the first video that like came up and she sent it to me immediately was a video of someone who did the exact same thing as me. Went up to the reporter and slashed them. And then they died and they did the same thing. They're like, what? It's like, but this is supposed to be Orin. It's like, oh fuck, we'd never know who she is. It's like, oh no.
That's the joy of choice-driven games.
Mm-hmm.
They're always changing, and you honestly, unless you write down your choices, you'll never play the same game twice.
And the problem is your choices change so drastically. Like, I mean, so there's 5 billion different ways you can start it. You can make your own character, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You could play any of the characters that travel in your group. You can actually play any of them. Like, you could start off and play their origin story, basically, and play as them throughout the entire thing. Or you can play the actual story that's supposed to be told, which is the Dark Urge, or the Dirge, as it's been called. And that you get a whole wide array of other options that you don't get as other things because you're supposed to be fighting this dark urge within you, and you're like, oh my god, there's so much. So much difference. I'm like,
I get it. Anne and I have just a little over 300 hours in on Dying Light 2. And because, again, choice-driven game, we're opening sections on the map that we didn't even know existed on our last playthrough. And I'm like, the fuck did this come from? And she's like, we made a different choice.
That's awesome.
I'm hardcore. I love the zombie games. I'm hardcore zombie games.
Oh, man. Undead things always.
My life is a horror movie. I love horror movies. Stephen King is my literary life mate. I love zombie games. Any game that is blood, guts, and dead people, I'm playing it. So
I watched Alien Romulus the other day, and it was great. I really liked it. I do have one thing I don't want, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Go watch it. I had a great time. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it fit. And now I'm not a huge Aliens fan, but I felt like it was. I really enjoyed myself at the movie. It was a good time.
I've heard that from a few friends who have gone and seen it, and they're like, it is. My one friend said that it's the best movie of the entire year. He's like, it was so well done. He's like, great graphics, great storyline to it. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a watch. I'll definitely give it a watch because I mean, for me, I love the Alien movies. Tina does not.
You know what? I would probably watch it as soon as it came on one of our streaming services. Only because, again, I've got like 24 hours in a day of free time. I tend to watch a lot of movies.
Yes.
Okay.
I cross stitch. My hobby is cross stitching. So I'll put movies on that I watch like over and over and over again. So I don't have to see the TV to know exactly what's going on. All I have to do is hear the dialogue. So I can do that with Romulus. I'll watch it the first time and then anytime after that. It's kind of like The Shining. The Shining is my go-to movie. I watch that movie at least once every 3 months. The Shining, Jaws, Lord of the Rings, Bohemian Rhapsody. What a combo, eh?
There.
All right, yeah.
Those movies, I don't have to see the TV, but I'd be cross-stitching and doing the dialogue. And my husband will come out. He works from home. He'll come down the hall from his office, and he'll be like, I thought I heard Frodo's voice. My son will come upstairs and he'll be like, honestly, Mom, again? Yes, son, again.
They're like, yes, boy, that I let live in my house for free. Yes.
Who I birthed.
Exactly.
You will like Frodo and you will love it.
Well, I mean, I made him go to all the movies with me. I know he was only 5, but I made him go to the movies with me. He enjoyed them. He's not somebody that can watch a movie over and over and over again. Whereas me, around September 15th, I'm like, it's horror movie season, and there's nothing on my TV except horror movies until about mid-November.
That's fair. That's fair.
The 60 days of Halloween Eve.
I think my daughter Sam, I think she was about 6 or 7, and we watched The Exorcist together.
Did you like the new Exorcist movie?
With the 2 girls?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot about that one.
The Exorcist Believer or something like that.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
It was all right. I didn't go to the show to watch it. It came on one of the streaming services. My husband's an IT guy, so we get a lot of free TV. So yeah. So when it came on, we watched it. I was intrigued. I liked the storyline of the 2 girls, the possession, but I think it could have been more. It could have been. I'm not saying Linda Blair quality possession. It could have been
Aim
more.
big, come on.
Well, The Exorcist had what? How many sequels they had? Exorcist 2, Exorcist 3?
Too many.
What?
I was just going to say.
Just bad. Just so bad.
So many.
Yeah.
Like the Amityville Horror. You got the first one. Stop making them after that, because the first one's good. Stop making them. I'm not a sequels person. I'm not. I don't like sequels to movies unless they absolutely need a sequel. And I'm not a remake fan. I'm not a fan of remakes.
Yeah.
And as I said, Stephen King is my literary life mate. I get that the first time it came on, it was made for TV, so it was really tame, and special effects in the 80s sucked balls. I understand why they had to remake it into 2 ginormous movies with all the special effects. I didn't like it, and I have friends like, how could you not like it? And I'm like, because you know why? Tim Curry is Pennywise.
1,000,000%.
And now Pennywise is also Eric Draven.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's in he's the new Eric Draven.
Yeah.
So I saw something disturbing this week.
Oh God.
Actually, I saw several things that were disturbing this week, but we're going to start with this one. Have you guys watched the originals, The Never Ending Story?
Yeah.
So obviously, like, those are some movies that to me should never be remade.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Except Disney
They're not.
Yep.
They're making a sequel. They're.
Shut up! I saw that they were redoing
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
Yep.
Yeah. Never Ending Story is a perfect movie, like we were talking about earlier.
Like you can't. You just can't.
I don't. It'll be interesting on how they do it. It depends again how the story is, because it is the never-ending story.
That's true.
I get
that. So I mean, like,
if it's a never-ending story, then continue. Don't start from the beginning and remake it.
Exactly, and yeah, so they're gonna have to tread, because that'll be one that they don't want to piss off all the fans. I mean, they're
you know, like that's you get you get mega fandoms to it where you're like, okay, you're taking on a beast of its own. Like, if you fuck it up, you're not going to have. There was a TikTok video probably about a month ago that made me laugh hysterically. And I want to say it was like whatever one of the younger generations is called, calling out
Gen X, Gen Z.
Gen X, I think.
Mhm.
Gen X, I think that's the one that you and Mama are part of. And all of like,
I'm
like,
Gen X too.
I'm the one just after that. I'm the millennial. I'm the elder millennial. So
It's not my fault I was born in the 70s.
But
early
my
70s.
group all came and we were like, oh, don't wake that beast. You don't want to wake that beast. Like there's nothing that you want to fight against in the Gen X. Like they were beaten with spoons. They were paddled. They were cracked across the knuckles by nuns in schools. Don't anger that beast. And that is exactly who they're going to anger if they fuck up the never-ending story. We go, oh,
Yeah.
they have been summoned. They've been summoned and it's going to go bad.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct. But you brought up TikTok. So I have my work TikTok, my assistant and I, we started our Office parody set in our theater. And we just did our first episode. It's if you look up BS at B&B. B.S at B, because I'm Brad, she's Summer, so it's BS, you know? Yeah.
I love that far too much.
And so BS at B&B, or I think it's like at movies.bb, something like that. But you'll get a kick out of it. It's we got some pretty good stuff on there.
So
yeah, BS at B&B or at movie.bs.
yes.
Are we looking at this? Where's my camera? So that one?
Yep.
I found you.
That's us. That's us. Yep.
Send it to me, Taylor.
I was just going to say, I'm sending it to you. Hold on.
Yep.
I don't have my glasses on. I'm struggling to read blurry letters here.
Yeah, but we do our Office parody. It is awesome. Well, we got some super fun stuff set to come up. But I do Uno, and we did a cool thing for our last Uno tournament that we did last week and stuff like that. So it's fun times.
Okay, so my TikTok is under our podcast.
Yep.
So you'll see Obscurations.
Oh, I'll be back. Sure. Yeah.
I do on Fridays. I post a Follow Friday. So I can include you guys in if you'd like to build your followers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
They just copy pasted their links.
And if you want to send me your podcast links when I publish the episode, I will include your links too, so that you're cross promoted.
Absolutely, I can definitely do that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I need to start working on that stuff a lot more.
Yeah, we understand that struggle. Like it's one of those things where we had a meeting one of the days after I was done work, and went through and we were like, okay, here are the ideas that I came up with while I'm sitting there at work thinking, I'm like, ooh, and this and this and this. Like we can do all of these things. And it's like, okay, we have to get more out there. We can do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job, I swear.
Oh God,
she's retired, but she's got to work on the socials.
Another, yeah.
I do most of it. Taylor just shows that she's a talent.
I say I take care of the YouTube angle of it, and then I'm like, okay, I came up with the ideas. Okay, so I have things.
Right. I need to work on my YouTube presence so much more. I got it pretty decent on TikTok and stuff, but yeah. But you know what? Hey, this is for fun. You know, like when it comes down to it, and like I don't want it to ever be, like, I don't ever want to be like I feel like I have to get to do something, because then it's like, you know, I mean, granted, like while my wife and my daughter are watching One Tree Hill, I am obviously going to be working on podcast things.
Can't say I blame you on that.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So.
going to say
Yeah,
that was
Taylor gets
exactly
very
it.
disappointed in me because she'll be like, "Have you watched this movie? It's so sad." And I'm like, "I don't do sad movies." There's only ever been one movie that made me cry.
Which one?
I mean, so many people laugh when I say this. It was The Green Mile.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good movie. Great movie.
Such a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, see, but the problem for you is that, haha, you're going to have to start adding other movies to your list because we're going to have to start reviewing them for the Fridays. Haha, bitch.
I'm gonna have to boost my resume on movie watching.
Right now, she's just got like, here's all the horror I watch.
New podcast.
I was going to say, whereas then there's me where I'm like, I watch basically a little bit of everything but avoid the horror because I'm a chicken shit. And then my mom's like, do you want to watch horror? I'm like, I do not.
Yeah, I'll pass. I will pass.
Do you want me sleeping on the end of your bed going, hey-yo?
It's because those of us that are in our early 50s cut our teeth on horror movies.
100%.
We had The Exorcist, Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy, like children of the 80s. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so-
accurate.
The one I can handle most horror movies except for the ones that are like really like fuck with your brains, you know? Like for me, one of the scariest movies that I've ever seen is The Mothman Prophecies. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Oh,
I
yes.
remember hearing parts about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it had Richard Gere in it and some other bigger people, and it's not a scary movie. It really is not. It's a psychological thriller. But I mean, like, but it was from just not long before that. You know, I mean, dude, I mean, just like look it up. The Mothman Prophecies. That movie still is in my brain.
You could handle it, Taylor.
I was going to say, that
you
sounds like
can
it's one of the
handle
ones
it.
that I watched. Like,
Yeah.
the psychological ones.
You remember when we did the podcast on urban legends?
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the Mothman.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I was say, those are the kind of things, like that kind of stuff I like. It freaks me out to a certain point, but that's the kind of stuff that I actually like, where it will fuck with your mind more, like the scarier stuff. So, have you watched
Slasher.
American? Yeah, I was gonna say more slasher stuff. Like, have you watched American Horror Story or Stories?
Yeah,
Series?
I'm down a few seasons, but yeah, I mean, because I got a 12-year-old kid and I don't want her to see it.
Yeah, that's definitely not for kids.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love that series, and I hate horror. So my mom is still confused to this day, as am I, and she's like, "You are a chicken. You will not watch the Saw movies with me, but you will sit here and watch all of the American Horror episodes." I'm like, well, I didn't say that they don't scare me, and I stopped watching them before dark hits, because then my mind starts going, see that? See, are you secretly dead and you don't know that you're dead? Maybe you are dead.
Is this the
That
Sixth
was-
Sense?
Yep, I was just going to say that's exactly it. My brain starts going through all of it, where it's like, well, you didn't know that the entire time in season 1 of American Horror Story, the daughter was dead from like when she overdosed on the pills, and that was like episode 2. I'm like, she's been dead this whole time.
So Brad, have you seen Long Legs?
Yes.
And what did you think?
Loved it.
Okay,
so
my
Look at
daughter
both
and
of you, sir.
son-in-law
Okay,
went
so-
and saw it, and my daughter said that I would enjoy it. So I haven't talked to anybody else that's seen it, so I'd like your opinion.
Okay, so first of all, I gotta preface this with I love me some Nicolas Cage. Okay. Sometimes in
doesn't?
life, you just need to see two things. One, Jason Statham beating the shit out of people in movies, and Nicolas Cage in all of his Nicolas Cage. And this, like, you don't even recognize Nicolas Cage in this.
Oh,
It is insane. It is a well thought out movie. I wouldn't say that it really scared me enough, but it was more or less like, oh, I mean, like the movie went fast. I mean, like it just like I was it's probably one of the first movies that when I came up with my movie fog, it had me to the top of my movie fog. It was my movie fog is a 1 through 5. I was a 5 in my movie fog, and I was immersed in it. And it was great. Yes, you absolutely should see it. 100%.
Okay, good, perfect.
Yes.
Now she's like, okay, now I will.
my daughter said, she goes, it's not so much a horror movie, Mom, as it, in her words, as it is a mind fuck.
Yeah. She's right on that. Yeah.
So, okay, perfect. What are you writing, Taylor?
I'm writing down hashtags as we're going through, so that way I remember them. It's if I don't do it while we're doing the
hashtags
episode.
this long?
Pretty much, because
Nice.
I was like, okay, because if I wait until after the episode's done and I don't do it while we're doing the episodes, I don't remember. Like, I'm one of those people where I always tell my friends whenever they're like, okay, please don't tell someone this. I'm like, listen, once you walk away, my brain goes, oh, that person's gone, closes the file drawer, locks it, and it doesn't exist until you walk back over and you have, it's like they, unbeknownst to them, have a key card. They come walking up, they're like, do you remember that conversation from yesterday? Please hold.
Yeah.
You can see like the loading as they're going to,
You're trying to sign in.
You said.
Yeah. You're trying to sign in and you type in your password, incorrect username or password.
Yep, exactly.
What? I just created it yesterday. What are you talking about? Incorrect. It is not incorrect. Forget password. So please sign in on 3 different
Yep. That's exactly it. Because my mom does that to me all the time. She asks me, like, I'll come home from visiting Dana, and she's like, so what's new with Dana? What's she have to say? And I literally just stop for a minute. I'm like, I don't know. We just talked about stuff. She's like, kid, you just got home. Like, you just left her place. I'm like, oh. We talked about stuff.
Yeah.
So on Friday, my husband and I bought a new car. So yesterday,
now that I remember, Pedro.
Yes, my car's name is Pedro. It has an app, the My Chevrolet. We bought a Chevy Trax. It's My Chevrolet. So you set it up and you can start your car from your phone in that, right?
Oh yeah.
So Norm puts it on his phone and he's like, okay, he goes, I'll send you the link to join the family. I'm like, well, thanks. We've only been married 22 years. So he
How
sends
nice of him
the
to include you.
link. I download the app and it says create an account. Make a password. It says password strong. Go to the next page and it asks you twice to verify who you are by sending you a code through your email, right? But when you do that, it logs you out. 11:45 last night, I threw my phone down. I'm like, fuck this shit. I could not remember my fucking password 7 times. I had to change my password. I had to create a new password 7 fucking times. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think
After
I got
that one time, you're like,
So yeah, I get it.
Yep.
Perfect. Yep.
Yep. I was going to say that's exactly like, it's basically another person walks up and tries to access that memory and there's a big user denied. Like, this isn't a file for you.
Yeah, so what I usually do when that happens to me, I go, "Hey honey, what is the kid's social security number?" "Hey honey, what is that piece of information that I know I don't remember but you do?" That's what I usually do.
That thing that you know that I don't.
Yeah.
In Canada, we have a social insurance number, and it's a 9-digit number, and you can apply for your social insurance number at any age. I got mine when I was 11. I lost my card when I was 12. I still remember that number like that. I can't remember why I walked in the fucking kitchen. Remember my social insurance number like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I would rattle that 9-digit number off. Can't remember my phone number.
You're like, it comes in handy every single day of my life. Not.
Exactly.
You're like, who needs to have these other things left in there?
It's one of those things, right?
Oh, the joys of life.
Oh,
Yep.
the choice.
And getting older.
Yes.
So my daughter was born on my 30th birthday, so I just stopped having birthdays at 30. I didn't want to make her share.
You're like, that's it. We're
Yep.
done now.
Yep, and this was my ex-wife, and so like when she had her kid on my birthday, I was like, hey, cool, I'm good. I'm 30. I've been 30 for almost 15 years.
Attaboy.
You're like, how long will we be 30? Forever.
Yeah, I just say I'm 30-year. 30-year.
Meanwhile, I would say my mom calls me, no matter how old I've become now, I am 32 teen, because she refuses to have a daughter that's not a teenager. So the moment I turned 20, it was, you're 20 teen. I'm like, that doesn't. She's like 21 teen, 22 teen, 29 teen. I'm like,
Nice.
all right then. And that is
So-
how I will be until she dies.
If I'm a teen, can I have some money, please?
Yeah. Can I have my allowance?
Yes.
Get the money right here. All the monies. And there's inflation now, so put all the money.
Right. Yeah, because $1 a week used to be good.
Yeah, now you're like, that doesn't even buy me anything at McDonald's anymore, or Tim Hortons, or any of the places. You're like, penny candy isn't even a penny anymore. It's still like $2. Give me $2, I give you 1 penny candy, and you're like, but I would like more.
Right.
Penny candy.
Doesn't even buy you a coffee at Tim Hortons anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what Tim Hortons is?
I'm gonna guess it's like a restaurant, like a
It's a
Perkins
donut
or-
shop,
donut
Yep.
shop. Okay.
a bakery.
Yeah.
A bakery.
Oh, now
donut.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
now I
was,
want a donut.
the hockey player that played for the Buffalo Sabres. It's named after him, Tim Horton. He got beheaded on one of our highways.
Ah.
Great
Hey,
story. Woo!
donut hole, no head, donut hole. I guess.
And you're like,
know what?
it kind of looks like a Timbit. This is
Well,
perfect.
in Wayne's World, they kind of made a parody of him with Stan Mikita's donuts.
Ah,
It was shot at Timmy.
well, 3 words for you. Party on.
Party on, Wayne.
Yes. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Oh man, I think
Oh.
you know what? I'm gonna go get a donut after this.
I was going to say, I think that's the perfect place to end this week's episode.
You're probably gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts.
No, I refuse Dunkin'. I hate Dunkin' Donuts. I don't like their coffee. I don't like the people that work there. At least in this town, they take too long on the stupid drive-through when I had a gift certificate, because why would I get a gift certificate? Why? I make my distaste for Dunkin' Donuts very, very well known at work. So some of the people, when they do like, hey, give you something.
Mm-hmm.
I have some. I work with a lot of cool people, and I got to give them props for this. They give me $5 gift card for Dunkin' Donuts, which is good. But damn you, because they know I'll use it. They know I will use it. They know I don't like the coffee there. They know I don't like the donut, and they also know I have this inability to only use what's on the gift card, right? So you give me a $10 gift card, I'm gonna want to spend like 11 or 12 because I want to,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They know me too well. Damn them. If you're listening to this, damn you and your awesomeness. Yes.
How dare you? How dare you make me do this?
Right. And like so they're just horrible. Dunkin' Donuts is horrible. Sorry, Ben Affleck. You know what? I'm not sorry, Ben Affleck. Do better. Do better.
Sorry. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Boom.
So do you go to Krispy Kreme?
Actually, not. We have one in town, but I usually don't. We have we just have a local donut shop that's a few blocks away from where I live. It's called Ambrosia Donuts, and they have the best donuts I've ever eaten in my life. And they're cheaper than the other places. So
Nice.
this place, man, it used to be called Choo Choo Donuts, and then I don't know if they got new owners or whatever. All I know is their name changed, but the quality of the donut did not.
That's all that matters.
That is all that matters. And I am a bigger dude. I'm not a small dude. So when I say it's a good donut, You can trust me.
Yes. That's what I always tell people when I'm like, do you think I got this fat from eating salads? No. I ate the good stuff. If I say it's good somewhere, it's good.
No
Better
great
be
story.
listening.
No great story ever said I was eating a salad.
That's
you can
right.
say, I was eating a donut when, but you don't slide down the stairs in a pillowcase after eating a salad. 5 shots of tequila, yes.
We've all
On that
been there. We've all been there.
Did you slide? I think I slid. Blood gushing down. Like, I think we might need to go to a hospital. I'm fine.
Why is my foot backwards?
One more time. Let's do this one more time.
Oh yeah, it'll fix the backwards foot then, because it'll go the opposite back to the original direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was so
All
much
right.
fun. This was so much fun.
This has been fun.
Yes.
It's been a great chat. Maybe we can do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me know.
I'd love to have you back on again. I'm sure we can have him back on for any nerdy topics.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. What was our main topic, actually? We're just...
It was you.
It was just you.
Cool.
And I think we pretty much covered that, so we're good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, exactly. It worked perfectly. We promoted you. That's why we were smart. We did all the stuff up top where we're like, here's the books he's written, here's the podcasts he does, here's this, and then we're like, and now we're going to go into his nerdy side.
Yeah, it's like 1 minute and then everything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
My nerd flag is raised. My nerd flag is raised high.
Awesome.
She starts just waving it. Woo!
So
The
yes,
slow-mo, the 1980s, championship.
Yes.
Right, music starts playing. Yes, I love it. So this is so much fun.
Yes.
Cell phones at concerts just
Yes. It's not the same. It's not the
works
same.
me. Last time last time I went to Metallica, it was all cell phones. I'm like, son of a bitch, people. But
Get a lighter. Get a fucking lighter.
Go to the dollar store.
That's right. Burn that phone a little bit. It's a good song.
Exactly.
It's a good song.
I remember having scorch marks on my thumb as a teenager.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I swear it was from concerts.
Yeah. That's what I told my parents anyway. I wasn't going to tell them the other thing. I mean, like, let's be real. Mom,
Swear
I
it was.
hope you're not...
I told my mom, "Ma, all the people around me were smoking marijuana. I swear it was the contact high."
I was a junior in high school back in 1997, and I remember going out with some buddies, getting high. I was pretty fucking high. Well, my parents' bedroom was in the main floor of the house. And a lot of times when you walked in the house, they'd be like, can you turn the radio off or the TV off or something like that? So I walk in and my mom was like, hey, can you turn the radio off? And I'm like, sure. And this was the commercial. Do you know if your son is smoking marijuana? Walked in, I turned that shit off, and I hightailed it to my room. They may have known right then and there.
Yeah, that moment where you're sitting there, you just start shaking all of a sudden, you're like, oh.
What is like so much cologne at 11:30 at night?
Oh, my daughter went to Montreal for the weekend about 2 months ago, and when she came over and telling me about her weekend, literally starts with, so we were high as fuck. I'm like, Samantha. She's like, Mom, we did mushrooms. I'm like, okay.
I'm not disappointed that you did it. I'm disappointed you didn't share.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Mother.
It's like you bring nothing home. You bring nothing home for your mother, and you just hog it all to yourself. Did I not raise you better?
Right.
All right. So we thank you, Brad, for being on the show. It was amazingly fun.
Thank you. This was a good time.
And we'll set up another time to have you back on. We'll chat some more.
Absolutely. That was so much fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
A wonderful day.
You too. Viewers, listeners, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back.
Yeah, so remember, squirrels' cheeks are also their nut sacks.